TMC Newsroom. My name is Rich Tehrani. Thanks for watching us. We are here at the CTIA show in Orlando, Florida, and on our program is Steve Gleave, and he is the VP of Marketing for the Carrier Systems Division at Metaswitch Networks. Hello, Steve. How are you?
Hey, Rich. Very good. Nice to see you again.
It's great to see you. I was hoping we could just get an overview of what your company's been up to. What are you showing here at CTIA?
Yeah, a bit of a mixed bag, actually, Rich. Been some interesting developments at Metaswitch. I think the first thing that's important to us is this is actually our debut at the show. We just did Mobile World Congress in Spain, and now we're following up with our first real large US wireless show. And it's interesting because people say, well, is Metaswitch new to the space? And I think the answer is we're not new to the challenge of mobile operators having to compete, operators having to defend their turf, because that's something we've been doing for 10 years, helping incumbent operators in the US to basically revolutionize, transform their networks, add next generation applications. What we're doing now in wireless is bringing our experience in building out networks, supporting networks, launching new services, and actually taking some of the applications that have historically been tied to wireline devices and matching them up with mobile devices. So there are plenty of examples where you can think of today where unified communications typically extends to your desk phone being integrated with your wireline, with your PC. For an experience perspective, and I can dial off the page of my PC, I can dial from Outlook, I can check my voicemails using widgets, I can integrate my call history into, let's say, an iGoogle page. But none of that's really been integrated with the mobile experience. So we're bringing all of those apps that we're very familiar with, very successful with, and tying those now to mobile devices. Bringing soft phones, twinning soft phones to mobile phones as well, so that now I can recreate my mobile phone experience, but in parallel on a PC, or even a soft phone on the phone itself, running over the data channel, which gets a bit confusing if you end up this kind of tiny space vortex. You're not quite sure what you're calling on anymore, but you can understand why we're trying to shove all this stuff together.
Absolutely, and there's been an incredible amount of growth in the wireless space, and everyone seems to have a device and they have it with them all the time, and there's more of a focus on it, and landlines are being disconnected, even enterprise lines are being disconnected, so it makes sense to get ready for this transitionary period as we see less and less connected phones, right?
Right. Well, it does. I tell you what's interesting to me is that you're absolutely right. I mean, I carry a smartphone, everybody in my company does. But there are these kind of unwritten rules that you have to follow with the smartphone. So, for example, recently at Mobile World Congress, I get out there, first thing I get is a message from our IT department, turn off roaming, turn off everything, right? Because you get like 1 kilobyte of traffic, and yeah, it's going to get really expensive for us. And so the idea behind that is like it's odd to me that I can use this phone here, and when I get abroad, I've got to turn everything off. And what do? I maybe get on the Wi-Fi at the hotel, I put up the Skype client, and I make a call home for a few cents a minute, effectively kind of sticking it to the wireless guy, if you like, feeling like I'm winning. But what's really happening here is that I'm walking away from my mobile operator's brand. I'm trying to find ways, and I'm somewhat technical savvy so I can figure this out, but I'm finding ways to call home while avoiding the roaming charges. But effectively what I've done is I've minimised the whole operator experience that goes with that. So what's interesting is that what we're trying to do as a company is, with those smartphones, is keep the operator brand where it should be, which is like front and centre in the communications experience. Because it really, the way I look at it is they've kind of been relegated to that tiny little space up in the left-hand corner, right next to the signal strength bar, which invariably you're looking at going, hang on, signal strength here. It's a negative connotation that comes with the operator brand. And what we're all about is applications that are branded by the operator, that go global, that allow me to roam between fixed networks, Wi-Fi networks, and mobile networks, but keeps me, if you like, always pushing my calls and my overall experience through the mobile operator's brand. So, yeah, I think the smartphone has changed a lot of things. What we're trying to do is get the communications company back in the middle of the frame, not just the handset vendor or the operating system vendor. You know, they're kind of the rock stars of the industry now, and I think the operator's been compromised along the way.
So it seems like carriers really need to start thinking about changing the way they do business in terms of providing new services to keep their customers as the customers are driving through different time zones or flying through different time zones to different carrier networks. So as opposed to watching them just go away altogether, somehow finding a way to keep them engaged wherever they are.
Yeah. In fact, there's two sides to that. On the one hand, what I like with my smartphone is I'm never quite sure when I'm calling on my smartphone. If it's a business call or a personal call, I'm often thinking, well, am I part of a buckets of minute plan at work? Should I be making this call? If I've roamed somewhere, is this an expensive call? Is this going over the data path? And I think operators can take care of all of that for me. They can make the device a trusted device with the right plans in place, with the right features in place, where I could potentially even personalize it for a personal experience or a business experience and actually switch those profiles by time of day. I think what we're doing at Metaswitch is actually quite an interesting play right now, because on the one hand we're saying absolutely we can help you mobile operators bring to market a suite of services which we typically deliver as application service in their networks, and then some client apps on the smartphones, and then we can do what we've always done, which is kind of from the bottom up, bring the equipment in, work with the engineers, work with the marketing folks to bring these new services to market. What you may have seen from Metaswitch very recently is something that actually we believe changes the game. So in parallel to all of that, we very recently launched our own over-the-top application/service. This is something that's called ThroughTo. Right now it's purely a consumer type of experience. You download the application from the Android market. And what this allows you to do is basically to do impulsive in-call content sharing. So I can be on the phone to you, as soon as the call is connected, this transparent drawer appears on our screen. We can push buttons to share information on location, like contacts, photographs, etc. And these buttons are being developed by us and by developers to effectively build out a suite of things that you can now share in the call. Now what's cool about this is we know carriers want to do this, we know they want to extend voice minutes. They have this whole initiative called RCS, which is a standards way of getting to this. But Metaswitch has basically done this, launched this service, and with the idea being that we get first-hand experience in the marketing of these services, the bringing of these services to market quickly, turning that around to our mobile customers, sharing all of the data that we get, sharing the lessons that we've learned, seeing how much the call is extended, what information is truly shared, and then making it a brandable service that the operator can then bring to market. So, changing the game by actually doing the service first and then offering the service to the carrier, as opposed to just shipping them equipment and saying, come on, let's bring this to the market.
Now, how will carriers promote this to their customers?
So they're not doing it yet today, but we've got plenty of ideas of how they might, both from just a branded perspective and also from a value add perspective as to why people might want a service like that. So from our perspective right now, we are promoting this the way anybody typically promotes an Android app, right? So a combination of just working the blogging channels and the opinion formers and working the consumer communities and being in the right place, right time, having the application be effectively distributed in viral means, share the app, forward the app, etc. Obviously posting it up on the app stores. What we're doing then with carriers is working with them on button development. Button is the terminology we use for instant information sharing within the call. Talking to them about how they may brand that application for their own use. Would they just want to brand the service, or would they potentially want to own the cloud-based equipment? Because it's not only a client app, it's also a scalable cloud infrastructure. And then really looking at how they would mash that into a mobile application suite, if you like, how they can take the best of the apps that I mentioned at the start of this call with something like an OTT service, and overall use that as a response to the OTT vendors that are currently trying to take their business from. We actually call it waging the war on attrition. It's a combination of OTT and attrition, saying we can help you service providers fight back on both of those challenges.
I love British humor, but British technical humor is really my favorite.
It's not my strong suit, but we got a smile out of you at least.
So, in terms of what the carriers can potentially do now, there are really no limits, because now you are merging the voice and the data channel together with, I assume, open APIs to allow virtually any sort of intriguing application and ecosystem to be developed. Is that correct?
Yeah, very much. And it's actually really cool because you're absolutely right with your first comment there, which is it is using both the voice channel and the data path. So it does extend the voice call, and yet it transmits a lot of its information across the data path. In terms of button development, I mean, we brought out 5 buttons day one. If you download the application through to app today, you'll get these 5 buttons built in. But on a recent sort of weekend button developer camp, we had about 25 new buttons. They develop anything from sharing the weather, sharing signal strength, playing games. Ones I like that I haven't seen productized yet, but it'd be quite cool to play mood music. You know, if I've upset the wife, I'm giving her a call, and I can play a song there in the background. Or,
So when you say sharing the weather, I actually can potentially, I would call you right now and then shoot over the weather during
yeah, and
the
I
call.
say, oh, you know,
Is that how it goes?
Wouldn't believe the weather here, and just say it. I can add some context by sharing that data with you, right?
And that's during a live phone call?
During the live phone call, yeah. But where it gets super interesting is there's lots of things you and I could share. When you start applying this to business as well, I could be on the phone with a restaurant, they can push me the menu, they can push me specials, they can take payment. And things like I hate being on the phone and giving my credit card details, well, I could just push those details. So when you start integrating business endpoints with this, I think you get a very intriguing sort of overall solution.
I must say it's fascinating, and I appreciate you being on the program today, and looking forward to seeing how this new product initiative continues and see what the take-up is, and hopefully you'll let us know as you get new carrier customers.
Yeah, we will. Thank you, Rich, and thanks for bringing us to your beautiful booth here at CTIA.
It's really our pleasure.
It's really very nice.
Enjoy it.